My name is Jane. I am 34 years old. I live in a small town in England. Every morning, I wake up at 5:30. The sky is still dark. The house is quiet. I make a cup of tea and sit by the window. I take a deep breath and listen to the silence. This is my only quiet time. By 6, I am in my uniform. I wear a gray shirt, strong boots, and a bright yellow vest. I work at the town's waste and recycling unit. My job is to check bins, load heavy bags, and clean streets. It's not pretty. It's not soft. But it is honest work. Most people don't look at us. They pass by fast. They look away or talk on the phone. Some children point, but their parents pull them away. Sometimes I hear whispers. I could never do that kind of work. That's fine. I don't need them to clap. At work, I stand with my team. There's Rob, who is 60 and still stronger than most. There's Jenny, who never stops talking, even in the rain. And there's Michael, who always brings biscuits and shares them with everyone. We are not just workers. We are quiet helpers. We keep the town clean. The bags are heavy. Some smell bad. Sometimes I find broken glass or sharp things inside. I wear gloves, but accidents still happen. My hands often have small cuts. No one sees that. But I do not complain. This job pays the bills. This job feeds my family. I have 2 boys. Their names are Henry and Jack. Henry is 10. Jack is 8. They go to school near our home. Every day I make their breakfast before I leave. Toast with butter, 2 apples, and sometimes a boiled egg if I have time. I leave a note on the table, even if they don't read it. My husband, Daniel, works at night. He drives delivery trucks. When I come home, he is already in bed. When I wake up, he is just coming in. We speak in small windows. The boys had gym today. Dinner is in the fridge. Don't forget Jack's school trip. We are tired, but we try. Sometimes I see the teachers at the school gate. They smile, but not for me. They smile at other parents, parents in suits or nice clothes who smell like perfume. I stand there in my work boots and old jeans. I do not feel less, but I do feel outside. Last week, a mother looked at me and said, "Do you work for the town?" I said yes. She smiled quickly and then looked away. I know what she saw: my dirty hands, my boots, my vest. She didn't ask more. That's okay. One day Jack asked me, "Mom, do people say thank you to you?" I said, "Not always." He looked confused. "But you help the town." I smiled. "That's true. But we do not work for thanks." He said, "I would say thank you." That made my heart warm. Sometimes I feel tired before the day starts. My arms hurt. My feet feel heavy. But I keep going. I think of my boys. I think of rent. I think of school books and food. That gives me strength. On rainy days, the job is harder. My boots fill with water. My gloves get wet. The streets are cold and gray, but we still work. We still smile. Rob makes jokes. Jenny sings small songs. Michael shares his biscuits, even when they are soggy. One time, I saw something nice in a bin. A book with clean pages. I took it home. Jack read it with me. He said, "This story is fun." I said, "It came from someone's bin." He laughed. "Then they threw away something good." Daniel and I do not go out much. We don't have time. We don't have extra money. But on Sundays, we all eat dinner together. We sit at the table. No phones. Just us. It is my favorite part of the week. I don't wear makeup. I don't have time in the morning. I tie my hair back. I wash my uniform at night. I wear the same coat every day. But I never feel ashamed. I work. I earn. Some mornings, I miss the bus. I run with my bag. I laugh to myself. "Jane, you're still fast." The driver waits for me sometimes. He smiles. "Busy, Mom?" I say. "Always." Once Henry said, "Mom, do you like your job?" I thought for a second. Then I said, "I don't love the job, but I love what it gives us." He nodded. "Like food and warm clothes?" I smiled. "Exactly. I used to care what people thought. I used to feel small. But now, I feel strong. I wake up early. I carry weight. I clean mess. I come home tired. But I never feel useless. We don't have a big house. We don't have a car. But we have what we need. I look around my kitchen and feel proud. Every plate, every chair, every lamp. I helped pay for it. Rob once said, "You're one of the strong ones, Jane." I laughed. "I cry in the shower sometimes." He said, "That's okay. Strong people cry too." I liked that. Jenny said, "People don't see us, but they would see the mess if we stopped." That's true. The streets stay clean because we care, even if no one claps. One day, a little girl gave me a flower. She said, "Thank you for cleaning the street." Her mom looked shocked. I smiled and said, "You're welcome." I put the flower in my pocket. It stayed there all day. That night I showed it to Jack. He said, "Wow, that's pretty." I said, "It's better than money." He laughed. "Can I keep it?" I gave it to him. Before bed, I drink tea. I sit by the window, just like in the morning. The street is quiet. The lights are soft. I think about the day. I feel tired, but calm. This job is not big. It is not rich. But it is real. It is mine. And every day, I do it with care. I work for my family, not for applause. Before I continue my story, I want to ask you something. Where are you listening from? Sometimes I wonder if someone out there really understands me. Just knowing you're here gives me strength. Winter came early this year. The mornings were darker. The air was colder. My hands hurt in the wind. Still, I woke up at 5:30 like always. I made tea. I sat by the window. I looked out at the street lights. The ground was wet from rain. I put on 2 socks that day. My boots felt tight, but I needed the extra layer. My yellow vest was clean. I washed it the night before. I looked at myself in the mirror and said, "Another day, Jane. You can do this." At the bus stop, I saw an old man. He nodded at me. I smiled back. We didn't speak, but I felt seen. That was enough. At work, the bins were heavier. People throw out more things before the holidays. I lifted one bag and water spilled out. It was cold and dirty. Jenny laughed and said, "Bad luck, Jane." I laughed too. Better me than you. Michael brought warm bread that day. He said, "My wife baked it." We all ate fast before the break ended. I thanked him. "It's soft and sweet," I said. He smiled. "It's love and bread." Rob was quiet. He had pain in his back. I helped him with his part. He said, "You don't have to." I said, "We help each other here." He gave me a small smile. That meant more than words. The street we cleaned was near the school. I saw Jack's class walking with their teacher. Jack waved at me. His face was bright. His friend asked, "Is that your mom?" Jack said, "Yes, she works for the town." I felt proud. Later that night, he told me, "Some kids laughed. They said your job is dirty." I looked at him and said, "Is our house clean?" He said, "Yes." I said, "Is your school bag full?" He said, "Yes." I said, "Then my job is good." He nodded. He didn't ask more. At dinner, Daniel said, "I may get fewer hours this month." I felt worry in my chest, but I smiled and said, "We'll manage." We always do. I worked extra on Saturday. It was cold and quiet. Fewer workers were there. I finished early and bought bread on the way home. I also got eggs. I made toast and eggs for dinner. Louis said, "Mom, this is my favorite." That made me smile. Sometimes I dream of rest, a slow morning, a warm bed, a long walk. But rest feels far away. There is always something to do. Clothes to wash, homework to check, food to cook. I move from one task to the next. One Sunday, Henry had a school paper. He needed help. I sat with him at the table. He said, "You are good at this, Mom." I said, "I used to love school too." He asked, "Did you go to college?" I said, "No. I started working early." He said, "That's okay. You're still smart." That touched my heart. That week, I saw a woman drop her coffee cup in the street. She looked at me, then walked away. I picked it up and put it in my bag. No bin was near. Later, I told Michael. He said, "They see us, but they don't see us." I said, "Yes, but we still do our work." At home, the boys asked for Christmas lights. I said, "We will put up a few." We used old ones from a box. We hung them near the window. When we turned them on, the room felt warm. Jack clapped. "It looks like magic." I made paper stars with Louis. We used old paper and glue. He said, "You make everything fun." I said, "Because I love you." That was true. At work, Jenny gave me a small gift. It was a pair of wool socks. She said, "For the cold mornings." I said, "Thank you, Jenny. That's very kind." She said, "We need warm feet to do big work." One day, my boots tore. There was a hole near the heel. I put tape on it, but the water still got in. That night, I told Daniel. He said, "We can buy new ones next week." I said, "I'll wait for the sale." He said, "We'll find a way." We always do. I looked online and found a pair on discount. I ordered them. When they came, I opened the box slowly. The boots were black and strong. I smiled and said, "These will carry me through winter." A few days later, Rob slipped on the ice. He fell on his side. We ran to him. He said, "I'm okay." But he looked pale. Michael helped him sit. Jenny called the office. A van came to take him home. I missed Rob the next day. It felt strange without him. Jenny said, "He'll be back soon." I hoped so. The job is hard without friends. At night, I wrote Henry's name on his school jumper. I sewed a button back on Jack's coat. I cleaned the kitchen floor. Then I sat with a cup of tea. My feet ached, but I felt peaceful. Daniel came home early that day. We sat on the sofa. The boys were asleep. He said, "We are doing okay, right?" I said, "Yes. We're doing more than okay." We held hands in the quiet. On Friday, the town gave us new gloves, thick ones. I was happy. The old ones had holes. I showed them to Jack. He said, "Now your hands won't get hurt." I said, "That's right." That evening, I read a story to Louis. He fell asleep on my lap. I didn't move. I just sat there, feeling his small breath, his soft hair, his trust in me. At work, we started cleaning near the river. It was muddy, hard to walk, but the view was nice. Ducks swam in the water. Jenny said, "I love this spot." I said, "Me too." It was quiet, just the wind and our steps. We found many cans and bags. We filled 5 big bins. Michael said, "This will look clean again." I said, "And safer too." We worked until our backs hurt. As we walked back, A man waved from a shop. He said, "Thanks for your work." We all looked at each other. It was the first time that week. Jenny said, "One thank you is enough." And it was. That night, I told the boys. Jack said, "You should get more thank yous." I said, "You give me the best ones." He gave me a hug. That was enough. Christmas was near. We didn't buy many gifts, just small ones. I made cakes with Henry. We watched a movie. I sat with Louis under a blanket. I didn't need more. I work every day, even when no one sees. I carry bags. I clean streets. I bring home money. I bring home peace. I don't wait for applause. I already have what I need. January was cold and long. The days felt short. The sky stayed gray. I still woke up early, drank my tea, and left for work in the dark. My new boots helped. My feet stayed dry. But my hands still hurt sometimes. Even the new gloves were not enough on very cold mornings. Rob came back after 2 weeks. He had a walking stick now. We were all happy to see him. Jenny hugged him. Michael said, "The team is whole again." Rob smiled and said, "I missed you all." I said, "We missed you too." One day, I saw a man throw a glass bottle on the road. He didn't see me. I picked it up. I put it in the bin. Michael said, "Some people will never care." I said, "That's okay. We care." The next week, Henry needed a new school bag. His old one broke. I looked online for sales. I found one that was strong and cheap. When it arrived, he said, "Thank you, Mom. It's perfect." I felt warm inside. Louis wanted a new puzzle. I told him, "We can't buy it now. Maybe next month." He didn't cry. He said, "Okay, Mom." That small answer showed me he understood. He knew we try our best. Sometimes I dream about a different job. A job with warm hands. A job where people say, "Good work," every day. But then I see my sons. I see their smiles. And I know this is where I need to be. At work, we cleaned the main square for a town event. There were lights and music. People walked around, eating food and laughing. We worked early to make the space clean. After the event, we came back. We picked up all the trash. One woman said, "I don't know how you do this." I said, "One bag at a time." She laughed. I smiled. Then I went back to work. Jenny started bringing soup in a flask. She shared it with me. It was hot and spicy. She said, "You need this more than tea on cold days." I said, "You're right." That soup made my day better. One evening, Daniel was late. I waited in the kitchen. When he came home, he looked tired. He said, "The van broke down." I said, "Are you okay?" He nodded. Just a hard day. I made him toast and tea. He said, "You always take care of me." I said, "We take care of each other." The boys were growing fast. Jack lost a tooth. He showed me with a big smile. Henry had a new song to play on his school recorder. The sound was loud, but I clapped. He said, "I'm getting better, right?" I said, "Yes, you are." On Saturday, we walked to the park. The sun was out. We kicked a ball. We ate sandwiches on a bench. It was simple, but it felt like a holiday. I looked at my boys. I looked at Daniel. I felt lucky. That night I sat by the window. I thought about my life. It was not big. It was not rich. But it was full of love, full of work, full of care. Michael got sick. He missed a few days. Jenny said, "He needs to rest more." I said, "We're not young like before." We both laughed, but we knew it was true. One day, a boy at school said to Jack, "Your mom works with bins." Jack told me. I asked, "What did you say?" He said, "I said yes, and she helps the whole town." My heart felt full. I hugged him tight. Later that week, I cleaned a small street. A woman opened her window and said, "Thank you." I looked up and waved. I smiled all the way home. At work, I found a lost toy. It was a small bear. I cleaned it and gave it to the lost items box. I hoped someone would come back for it. It reminded me of a toy Henry had when he was little. My back hurt more these days. I stretched before bed. I used a warm cloth. Daniel said, "Maybe you need to stop one day." I said, "Maybe, but not yet." He didn't argue. He just kissed my forehead. Spring came slowly. The sun stayed longer. The flowers came back. The bins stayed full, but it felt easier with light in the sky. One morning, I walked to work. A little girl waved at me from her door. She said, "You clean my street." I said, "Yes, I do." She said, "Thank you." I waved back. I felt strong. Henry made a card at school. It said, "My mom is a hero." He drew me in my yellow vest. He gave it to me after dinner. I cried a little. He said, "Don't cry, Mom." I said, "These are happy tears." Sometimes I feel tired deep in my bones, but I sleep and I wake up again. I do my job again, not because I must, but because I want to. The town may forget my name. People may not see my face, but my family sees me. They know me. That's enough. I do not work for show. I do not wait for words. I work for love. I work for home. I work for my sons. I work for their future. No one claps when I pass by, but I still walk proud. I still wear my yellow vest like it shines, because I know the truth. I know the strength it takes. If you liked my story, please like, comment, and share. More simple and emotional stories are coming soon.